So welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're taking a look at rJOE, the AVAX AMM. It's got a bit of an update coming today with a new feature. It looks like they're going to have an order book for their AMM, which is a nice upgrade and a cool new feature. But we're going to concentrate on sJOE, which is one of the staking pools you can get involved with that actually pays out in USDC. So this one's been on my radar for quite some time. So I'm just going to put together some of the research here in this video as to why I like the looks of this and why I'm going to DCA into this one. So starting off here with the jOE token, 28 cents right now. It's had a little bit of pump over the last 24 hours with the news dropping today, but a little bit of a pullback, so maybe a little bit of sell the news here. Market cap is now $90 million only, and it's on a load of tier 1 exchanges, like Binance, Crypto.com, FTX, so it's in pretty good company there. Lots of liquidity for this one, easy to get your hands on, but of course you probably want to buy it over on rJOE itself, and have some tokens on Avalanche on that chain ready to go if you want to get involved with any of these staking pools that we're going to talk about. So they've been hinting at this for a couple of days now. rJOE, a new AMM soon in their header for their actual Twitter profile there. And then they dropped this in the last hour. Liquidity book coming today. I believe the white paper will be released a little bit later, probably soon after this video, but not too worried about going through the white paper in a video. It won't be the most interesting, but essentially what you can see from this is they're going to have a full order book DEX. So if you're familiar with Kujira and what they've done with the Findex, you've got a DEX, but it's got an order book. Pretty damn slick. It's the way that things should be moving towards, and I think this can just garner a lot more trade through here, do a little more volume if it's got awesome features like that, placing orders, stop losses, all that good stuff. So that is what I'm expecting from today's announcement, which has been teased for a good few months here, and especially over the last couple of days. Now, this person tweeted, high probability the jOE liquidity books and concentrated liquidity on AVAX is going to be a game changer for revenue sharing. So this is something that's very interesting for sJOE stakers. If more liquidity comes to the books, if there's more trade on here, more depth, more traders can come onto this DEX and actually participate. Maybe people want to stay away from centralized exchanges with all the clampdowns and stuff going on right now. This could be, one of the winners from this kind of transition here. So now let's go over this. So they have their own Launchpad as well. And they recently launched May the 1st here. rJOE launches partner StakeHut Finance. StakeHut here is a yield optimizing protocol, and it says it synergistically integrates with veJOE farming. So one of the pools over on rJOE, just go by here. These are the staking pools. There's one deprecated and there's 3 live ones. rJOE, this is for the Launchpad. sJOE, where you can earn stable coins, accrues via trading fees, and veJOE, which is for the farmers. And being in this pool boosts your farm rewards. So when you have a yield optimizer like StakeHut, these guys obviously want to have the highest boost on their farms to get more people utilizing their platform, generating their own fees, making revenue. So as this article goes on here, the jOE wars have begun. So this is interesting to see. You're starting to see a bit of a federation, as Noah Seidman talks about, around this protocol, where you've got a few different platforms all tapping into jOE here. So similar to the Curve Wars and more recently the Platypus Party, they say protocols that build on top of boosted jOE farms will accrue as much veJOE as possible. Why? So protocols can offer more jOE rewards to their users. So similar to Curve, you actually get direct emissions. If you are vote escrow jOE, you can then send jOE emissions to the pool of your choosing via votes. Now you can see there's already 4 here and now a 5th with StakeHut in the so-called jOE wars: North Pole, Beefy Finance, Yield Yak, and Vector. And you can see the amount of jOE tokens they had staked back when this was done, which is a few months old now, granted. But overall, what we can see from the veJOE pool here is that almost $10 million worth of jOE are in veJOE, locked up, and being used for boosties on these farms. So you can see this federation around veJOE locking up these tokens to offer higher yields to participants on these various platforms. So rather interesting. It's not just a DEX token, but there's a lot more going on in the background. And this is what I like to see, due to the fact these protocols down here are pretty much mandated here to continue to vote lock and vote lock and vote lock and compound rewards. So this means there'll be less circulating veJOE for jOE public excuse the pun, as we progress, as these platforms will start to hold more and more and more of it. Now, the Joe distribution here is quite interesting. So 500 mil is the maximum supply, as you can see on screen, currently at 315 million. But over time, this will actually fully distribute by the start of January 2024. So the emission schedule breaking down over time, and according to these documents here, January 2024 is when we hit the peak for distribution, and thus we should be around 500 million by then. There is, however, the yellow section here, potential strategic investors. They've kept back 50 million tokens for potential future investment. So they might use these tokens to sell OTC to a new investor, maybe a strategic reason, maybe a partnership, that kind of stuff. So we're looking at 450 to the 500 million tokens being fully out there by the start of 2024. So not a long time before that actually happens. And so you can see the Joe wars should heat up, as after this point there will be no more Joe tokens in circulation. And so the protocols want to own as much as possible before that time. And similarly, if you want to stake your Joe for sJOE and earn trading fees, well, then there's only a finite amount of supply that can go around. And so it makes sense to have an accumulation process throughout the year, at least of 2023, which is my kind of thinking here. So let's quickly go through what Trader Joe offers here. As you can see from the top left across here, you can trade, of course, you can participate in pools, and you can farm tokens. You know, we've seen all these things before on AMMs. They are a little bit more innovative, though, I would suggest, through the fact they have a Launchpad. They also have a lending and borrowing service over here as well. So you could essentially leverage trade, or you could lend out your crypto to others who want to utilize leverage. Then we have the staking, these protocols here, and also NFTs. Shout out to JPEGs. I love the UI on this with the little Danny Sester in small creeps over here. But you can see they position themselves for the AVAX NFT market as well. So they're definitely solid builders in the space. But let's look at these three pools. So specifically veJOE, as we mentioned, all about boosting yield, farming rewards, a load of protocols mandated to accumulate this one. Good stuff. Then we have rJOE, the one that gets you into the Launchpads. Of course, not much in there at this moment in time. It is nowhere near Launchpad season. And so you can see the low distribution to this staking pool. sJOE has been deprecated. As you can see, almost $2 million worth of Joe tokens are left in there. A lot of people are sleeping on crypto right now, even those with quite a bit of funds. They've just left them. They've forgotten about them. They've moved on with their lives. So this is where the bear market opportunities will present themselves. As we go through a bit of a malaise, things get boring, a lot of sideways chop and down potentially, and so people just tap out and leave the market. So those of us who stick around can make big gains off the back of this. Now, this is the sJOE pool. This is the staking pool where you can earn fees from trading. So as we've seen, they're releasing a new liquidity book for their trading. This could drive more trade volume and thus fees to stakers in here. And especially, I would say, during the next bull run, this is when we want to be positioned for. Things look certainly quite bullish here. Now, the only fees, there's no time lock for this one. So if you want to dip in and out of this pool, there's no issues with that. You're not locked in for any duration whatsoever. There's just a deposit fee you can see there of 1%. And this is on a sliding scale from 1% up to a maximum of 3%. During a bull market, will be up to 3% deposit fee. It's going to be annoying to get in and out of this one, but during the bear market, it's probably going to stay at 1% due to the low demand. So 0.05% fee is deducted from every swap on the platform. This is obviously taken in various cryptos, but what they do is just sell that into USDC and send it over to the staking contract here. So let's have a little look over the last 6 months. Total sJOE staked. The pool started back here somewhere, and then we can see it's gone up quite nicely. So a lot of people are obviously involved with this. This is dollar denominated, so a little bit confusing due to the fact the price of Joe has changed considerably during this time frame. And then the APR over the last 6 months, you can see it goes up and down depending on market volatility. When we have less volatility, less people will be trading, and thus the amount of APR will go down. Currently, was it like 17%, 18% here? Pretty high. I would say this is going to come down over the next few months. As the bear market progresses, people just get bored. Now, in terms of a distribution of this, you can see the remittances are coming in every 3 days. So you can pretty much claim your USDC rewards every single 3-day period, and then you can do what the heck you want with them. One strategy would be to just hold the USDC and wait for maybe a bit more capitulation and then buy in at a lower price, more Joe, or maybe you just want to utilize the USDC as a bit of a paycheck. That is obviously up to you entirely, or you could just compound straight out the gates every third day, use the USDC to buy more JOE and stake it for sJOE. But as you can see, the deposit fees, they're going to creep up on you a little bit there. So you want to probably time this and do this in batches, as this is what I've been thinking about. So the ability to earn USDC rewards is obviously quite compelling, gives you a lot of optionality, as well as obviously you could just continue to hold more and more USDC, especially as the market goes up, as it will eventually. You're going to be getting more USDC rewards because the APR is based upon the dollar value of your staked amount. So not the number of JOE tokens, but the dollar value of them. So rather interesting stuff. I think this could be a nice money spinner. If we just go back to the stake page here, in total, we're looking at 37, maybe 10, 47. We're looking at almost $50 million worth of JOE staked in total. So quite a lot of the circulating supply here is actually staked, probably like 55% or so. So the likes of Stake Hut joining into the JOE wars here. Very interesting stuff to see one of their launch partners just getting involved straight out the gates and accumulating veJOE. This is good for those of us who want to hold the JOE token. So they tweeted this recently, which was quite interesting. So over on rJOE, you can obviously trade, provide liquidity, farm tokens, borrow, lend, participate in launches, and trade NFTs. But over on Stake Hut here, they're allowing you to earn more JOE rewards. You can also boost your LP yields on rJOE, bid on NFTs. So JOE being the building block here, and then this is just showing us that there's these new protocols building on top of that, like the Lego pieces. Let's just go over to the price here. As you can see, a bit of sell the news here, down 26 cents right now. I've marked out these areas. So this was the 3 arrows capitulation here, but what this wick shows us here to the ultimate low, which was around 15 cents, someone bought this up pretty damn quickly, and then we had a few more dips down to around 17 cents. Market participants have stepped in and bought this up very, very sharpish, which is interesting, as this shows you there's a discount available. People have come in with money and gone, yep, that is too cheap, let's buy this up. And I think primarily that will be sJOE stakers due to that USDC yield. Now, an area I think we will revisit shortly, maybe down here around 21 cents. You can see there's a bit of confluence through this area, previous area of resistance, some support around here as well. So 21, 22 cents over the next few weeks. This might be the area to start to DCA in my humble opinion. So let me know down below what you think of rJOE, sJOE, USDC rewards. Hit me up down below. If you enjoyed this one, subscribe. See you in the next one. Goodbye.